Hello, my name is Rick Orser, running as a candidate for councillor on Vancouver City Council, and I'm just taking this opportunity to respond more fully to some survey questions conducted by the Vancouver Sun. On the question of more police officers should be hired to increase public safety, my response to that question was neutral, and basically it depends. I work in the security field, so I'm familiar with some aspects of this service, and the way I look at it is really a resource allocation issue. If we had a regional or provincial police force, it would be easier for Vancouver to draw resources from those police forces, especially for large events like sports events and things like that. And I think it would be much more cost effective for the region and the province than the current RCMP situation. And I'm very much in favor of having a regional and provincial police force. The way I look at it is if Ontario and Quebec can do, those provinces can do it, why can't BC? We should be able to have our own police, provincial police force as well as regional police force. And I'm very much in favor of that, and think it can ultimately deliver better service to us as well as cost us less actually in tax dollars. Regarding the question, development fees should be increased, my response was neutral to that one as well, and again it depends. When the fees are up for review, they should be considered whether they should be increased or decreased, really depending on our competitive position vis-a-vis other jurisdictions. Of course, we want to get the best deal for the city as we can, but at the same time we don't want to scare away development that could be good for the city. On the question, more municipal services should be contracted out to the private sector in an effort to reduce costs. My position is definitely agree on that, just as long as those services can be done by the contractor without jeopardizing the quality of service. Ideally, they'll do it at less cost and better service, but we have to be cognizant of the fact that quality is also part of the factors that go into considering a service. On the question of municipalities should shift a greater share of the property tax burden from business to residents. My position was neutral on that. It depends, but really to fully answer that, I mean the shift in the property tax burden from business to residential has already been happening. They've already been making that shift, reducing business tax and putting more tax on to residents. I'm in favor of that to a certain extent, of having the burden shared and to be competitive with what's going on in other jurisdictions, so that we do not lose businesses to those jurisdictions. I'm definitely in favor of that, and basically that's my position on that. And just as long as there isn't excessive taxation, all around. I mean, my interest is in getting taxes down. That's one of the issues I'm running on, is to have property taxes reduced, and to have it fair and have them reduced for everyone, business and residents alike. Regarding the question, my municipality has done enough to protect agricultural land from development. I agree with that. That's my response to the question. But to explain things fully there, I'm not a big fan really of protecting agricultural land from development, especially in a city that is really in need of more housing development. especially when food in the future, they say, will be grown indoors. There won't be a need for these large fields where food will be grown on and subject to weather conditions. Food in the future will be grown indoors, it's predicted. And I therefore recommend such land be developed in an eco-friendly fashion that would include not just living space for residents, but also high-tech indoor food production. On the question, TransLink's transportation plan, which calls for some combination of bridge tolls, vehicle levies, and container taxes to pay for transit infrastructure, is a good idea. I agree with that. That was my response on the survey. I basically have an opinion that there should be a better correlation between the costs of transportation and the users of transportation infrastructure. Gas taxes, for example, correlate better than property taxes. But gas taxes place, of course, a higher burden on businesses who need to use the roads to move their goods around to the stores, for example. These higher costs to businesses are then passed on to consumers, and the correlation there isn't as good as something that, for example, would be fair ways that TransLink is looking at. And I agree with some of these ways. More detailed, fair ways are needed to be found, and I believe TransLink is on the correct path to finding these solutions. I've got some ideas of my own, as you might know about, regarding the Wellness Hub, the TransLink Wellness Hub, and I'm even running a campaign on that, based on the correlation between health and transit. Basically, it's well known that people that use transit have to get out and exercise in order to use the service. So there is an inclination there for them to have better health, and it's something we should support. And you're welcome to look at my TransLink Wellness Hub campaign. The link is on my website. Thank you. On the question, Metro Vancouver should build a large incinerator in the region to process garbage as an alternative to landfills. This is an interesting question because Metro Vancouver actually already has a large incinerator. I know because I've been there. I had a tour of it when it was built many years ago, and it's a very large and very efficient facility from what I understand. So my response to that question was neutral. It depends. I stated in my comments here, Metro Vancouver already has a large incinerator located in Burnaby that has been in operation for many years with no problems and very little pollution. Basically, my recommendation there is to look into upgrading and expanding that facility if that's possible before considering, building a new facility or a second facility. Regarding the question, do you think municipal tax rates should be reduced, stay the same, increase at the rate of inflation 2 to 3% a year, or increase more than inflation to pay for more services and or infrastructure? My position on taxes is very clear. Taxes should go down, both the rate and the amount that people are paying, basically. They should be reduced. I mean, the city has really gotten a windfall in the last few years, and people should get money back. There should be a tax reduction. And I believe this is more than possible. Increased efficiencies and productivity at City Hall, and as well as charging actually service fees for additional services and infrastructure will basically enable the municipal tax rates to be reduced.